Here we go. Hello, I'm Matt.
Hey, y'all, and I'm Luke.
And we're the founders of the People's Champions International. Thank you for viewing and subscribing our podcast and YouTube channel at People's Champions International. And we appreciate your insights and comments as well. And you can do that directly on our YouTube channel. So welcome to round 6, where we're elevating what people can do while discussing the impacts of artificial intelligence on our lives. So today's round is going to immerse on basically the tech CEOs and the recent visit to Washington, D.C. to meet with the Senate in a closed-door meeting. And so one thing that we want to emphasize here is that all 100 senators were invited, but the public, the people, were not invited. So Luke, start us off here. What do you got to say about that?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen. So can you see it? Does it pop up okay?
Yeah, it's there.
So, like you said, there was a closed door meeting. So first off, we want to celebrate the fact that the first step was taken in some regulations being put in place. That's big. We've been putting, all of our voice behind that and wanting to make sure that our elected officials recognize this as, there's benefits and then there's clear threats. And we need to make sure that anything that's a threat is addressed. So this was a big step. A little different than, probably what we had hoped for, but, it was a closed door meeting, as you said. Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates. Essentially what it says here is Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer basically has the task of trying to rapidly develop artificial intelligence while mitigating its biggest risks. So we're all for mitigating its biggest risks and then developing AI in ways that will help people. So again, good first step. Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, OpenAI, which is the same as ChatGPT was there, Bill Gates. And Musk said, as a quote was, it was very civilized discussion. And it kind of wraps up there and says that Schumer asked if everyone believed that some regulation is needed. And Musk said that every single person in the room raised their hand. So I want to celebrate that. I think that's great. And that's a big first step. The only downside is this kind of continues is, there was some opposition that, the public was not invited. It was closed doors. Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri said that he wouldn't attend because he felt like it was a big cocktail party for tech. And it was just kind of hey, let's talk about this. Let's high level. Do we need some regulation? Okay, good. Everybody took off, and then this week, right after that meeting were some announcements by both Google and Microsoft about how fast they're accelerating some of their systems. So we still want to make sure that, the public's involved and that there's transparency. And so good first step, but much more is needed. And we just want to share that. So.
Yeah, Luke, thanks for going into that. And we are very, excited about this first step that we're seeing. We've brought this up on previous rounds. It's part of our purpose, mission and vision. We want to see our elected officials take action, and it's going to take people to be involved to get this done. And so that's what the People's Champions International is all about. So thank you for sharing that perspective. Gives us a little more insight about that closed door meeting. And so what I'm going to do just briefly is compare and contrast a little bit with what the U.S. is doing in this grand first step that we do appreciate and we do want to applaud, but highlight a little bit about what's going on across the pond in the European Union. They're a little more ahead on the regulations and the policy making. They have a lot of policies in place. They're looking to make them law. And so I did some research. What I did is I found out that Stanford University has an AI policy division, which is very intriguing. And so by combing through that and reading through some materials, I did find out a little bit about what's going on over there in the European Union. Once again, this podcast is not just geared for the U.S. It's about international aspects as well, which is very important. But what they're looking to put in the law and what they're trying to fine tune and maybe overcome some disagreements on are the following topics, which I find very valid. I mean, these are valid topics that we need to think about, the U.S. needs to think about, our leadership needs to think about. But number one was artificial intelligence used for biometric surveillance in the public. I mean, that's a hot topic. I mean, how do you feel about that? That's a rhetorical question, but just think about that for a moment. Also, should they limit the use of AI with law enforcement? That's very important as well. And we need to ponder that and what forward think what those outcomes could be, pros or cons. They need to further define high-risk AI. So I don't know if you know this or not, But basically, there's 4 levels of AI. So there's reactive machines, which is like Chat GPT. You type in, a question, spits out a response type of thing. So that's level 1. Level 2 is limited memory AI, and then there's theory of mind, which is interacting with human emotion and thought processes, and then there's full self-awareness. Now, according to the research that I've conducted, right now the technology is sitting at that 2.5 level. We're halfway between 2 and 3. I don't know if that's accurate or not, by the way. This is just what the research is showing us. But where the concern comes in is, that level 3 and level 4 of AI. And we need to pay close attention to this. The other thing is governance. Once again, this is not government. It's governance, which is all about control. We've brought this up on other rounds. How would these regulations and policies and laws, be enforced, at the individual level, at the business level, at the government level. So this is a key topic to watch out for. And the last one that I hit on that they're highlighting there over in the EU as well, and what they're focused on is generative AI regulations of misinformation. And once again, this hits right on what we're doing here at PCI in various rounds. And that's actually a reference to like systems like Chat GPT and other similar AI architectures. But when you type in and you get the response, where's that information coming from? What's its source? Is it valid? Is it accurate? And we want to operate in transparency. We have brought that up, and so we actually applaud the governments for looking into this and for taking it seriously. It needs to be done. More needs to be done. And so with that, Luke and I have some additional comments about people being engaged and getting our government officials more involved in transparency, not behind closed doors, because this is not about the government or about tech CEOs or even the elite, but it's a whole of society response. That's what we need, because AI impacts all people and all nations. And so we, the people, you and I, we need to be elevated and involved as well. Do you agree with that, Luke?
Yeah, I think great for sharing. And like you said, what they're doing in the European Union is important because they're close to actually passing legislation. I think I'd seen an episode of a Joe Rogan podcast, maybe it was with Elon Musk. I think it was his first visit on, it was probably 5 years ago. And he has been calling for regulation for a long time. And, his concern was just how long it takes from the time you start to try to pass legislation in the U.S. Can be a decade. And so he's been pressing for it and no steps have been taken. So great that this first step was taken, but we're a long way away. And so we really need to, as fast as AI is accelerating, we have to accelerate our lawmaking process. And so I call on everybody that would ever watch this to reach out to, your elected officials and push to make sure that anything that could be harmful to people's well-being, their livelihood, all those things are well regulated with AI. And at the end of the day, just to reiterate, we're pro AI where it helps people. We feel like the regulation needs to balance innovation. We want innovation. We want AI to progress where it will help humanity, but we need oversight where it's going to hurt us. We need transparency in how all that data is going to be used and how it's going to be handled. Address concerns about unemployment, misinformation, and really what nobody's saying is that losing control of AI is not a possibility. You don't talk to Bill Gates or Musk or nobody that knows AI is coming out and saying it is not possible for us to lose control of that. So we've got to be aware. We've got to make sure that we put the guardrails in place. And so really at the end of the day, it's all about helping people.
It really is. And, I thank you for sharing that. You really hit it home. And, the thing I want to tag on is, we can't be complacent. That's really what you're saying. We can't be complacent. We do got to pay attention to this. We got to take action when necessary. You already referenced her name. I think the only thing I want to add on to this before we bring it in for a landing is, we're you and I are just everyday middle class people, and we invite people to be part of this podcast. We want guests, which we're going to highlight again here in just a moment. But at any time, and you mentioned their names, we invite Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, be a part of this podcast. Be a part. Show the people that you're listening, that you care, that you're taking this serious.
Yeah, they've actually been reaching out, but they don't want us to broadcast it. They want to be on, talk to us, and then not put it out to the people, which I've been like, that's just not happening. So, they need to agree to let us post it on YouTube before I'll agree.
All right. So,
sarcasm.
But people, we have so much to talk about. and the media will not and cannot cover it all. So we do need you people, not AI, all peoples to stand with us, no matter where you're from, whether it's here in the U.S., the European Union, any international location, to contribute and promote what we're talking about. We want to hear your stories about how people, businesses, or government alike are utilizing AI technologies in a positive way to benefit humanity, or in an adversarial way so we can hold them accountable.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So, we would love if you would like this episode, like previous episodes, add comments below, subscribe. It really helps us if you'll hit subscribe and add comments, and it just creates some buzz, and that'll help us grow and get the word out. So you can look at our previous episodes here on the YouTube channel, add comments there, which is House of People's Champions International. We've got more engaging content coming weekly. We're looking forward to continuing to host guests to discuss both the pros and cons of AI, as well as how to best elevate people.
Yes, absolutely. And just to emphasize once again, if you want to be a guest, just reach out, let us know your name and like your story or situation or what your credentials are. We're going to vet that and make sure it's content that we want to promote on our podcast. And so until round 7, thank you for viewing and subscribing. Be well.
Be well, everybody.